Hi, Edu. How are you doing, my friend?
Dude, I'm awesome. How are you doing?
Also doing great. I'm happy to welcome everyone to this what is officially called the second season of our podcast, Two Dudes One World. Super happy
hmm
to be here and great to hear you again. Happy we can catch up and cover what has been incredible year, incredible time. Let's go for it.
I think a lot of people say good things take time. We definitely took 6 months to start working on this thing again. So that's your cue and that's your thing. So you know how good is this thing actually. It's gonna be phenomenal.
Right, right. We've been working super hard on this for 6 months just to be ready for this recording. It sounds so
Absolutely.
insane, and life
Yeah.
is crazy. So many unexpected things, and we're also battling those. So I'm happy we can do it no matter what, because the persistence is eventually the key, and we're also learning it as we go. So here we are.
Yeah, and I think that opens a really good topic of discussion on it's never too late to retake projects that you have left some time ago because if they make you happy, there's not really a time to start or to stop, you know?
Hmm.
I think a lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people struggle being consistent in the gym. A lot of people feel discouraged making music, making a habit in reality. And the fact that you're getting discouraged really is the only thing stopping you from retaking the thing again. I don't know if it makes sense. It's making a lot of sense in my head. I don't know. It's just like we believe that just because we stop doing something for a certain amount of time, we're never gonna do it again. And we feel like we automatically failed. When in reality, the easiest way to gain traction again is by doing it. And here we are doing this thing again, you know, and that proves that when you want something, the best way to do it is just doing it.
Great, great sermon, man.
I
I
feel like
I like
Tony
it.
right now.
The good thing about it is, I think the goal for us for this podcast was to keep our relationship as good friends going, because as now we're both adult, or I guess young adults in our case, and there are so many things that we have to still keep in track, be it our job, be it our studies, be it whatever we have to deal with at a certain situation. But yeah, it's so sometimes it becomes tricky even to just communicate enough and to exchange so many things and topics that we have touched before. So that's why I'm super grateful and happy that we could touch this topic again and hop on the call and set everything up, even though amidst the crazy schedules that everyone is having in this time. So also great thanks to all of you who are listening to this, because the time is becoming a very scarce resource for everyone. So just to spend a good amount of time with someone actively listening or paying attention, I think it's a big value in today's day and time.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I want to piggyback on what you said. So thank you so much for all the people listening and all of the people that encouraged us to make this still happen. I have a lot of people telling me, hey, why did you stop? Like, that was kind of interesting. And we were starting to gain traction. And I think we just got discouraged by the fact that life got in the way, in a way.
Hmm.
We had major life changes. I mean, specifically for you, but for me as well, accepting my work visa, traveling back home. For you, as traveling around the world and then settling to New York. So, how about you tell us and our awesome listeners a little bit about your experience and how you end up where you are right now, wearing that Berkeley College of Music hoodie?
It's silly to think about it, because I think during one of our previous episodes last year, if I can call it last year, just when we started, we were talking about our plans for the future and what we should do and how we weren't sure whether to continue in the direction. And now it feels super surreal for me to say this, to be thinking about the time from Berkeley, NYC, from the dream school that I've been trying to get in. And now I'm pretty much almost finishing my first semester here, which has been an incredible ride. And also many things happened, but I think that maybe that's not as important as the thing that we can always cover above, maybe on top of those like outside things, because I believe the way and the reason why we like to be friends is because of all the great things aside from what we do. Just being persons as who we are, being this kind of personalities and hanging out, trying to discover more, trying to learn more. But just to give like a very quick maybe run through. So last time when we talked, I was in China where I was invited to have some concerts, which was an amazing time because I love that place. I love those people. I love that culture. I love that food. That's one of the best thing of all times over there. And then I was super fortunate to go back home for roughly almost 3 months, where I had enough time to rethink everything, to fulfill things that I've been focusing on before I came home, being it the fact that I was trying to fundraise money for my education here, also as apply for outside funding to study here through various foundations. So all of that came into the peak during the summertime when I was back home, and I was trying to really rethink the whole process of what just happened over the past year when I was having the internship and focusing on getting here and fulfilling this biggest dream that I've had. And so after the summer back home, which was incredibly fruitful when it comes to my family time, to relaxing, to doing really nothing, just being there present with my family and with what is my home, as well as I
I
had
feel
my
like you
friend
have
along
said,
who
I feel like
traveled.
you have said home 10 times now, but for somebody new listening, where is home?
Home is in the Czech Republic, small village Hoslavice of 1,600 people. Incredible place, super wholesome, super peaceful, super slow, and just a beautiful place. My home. How is it for you, Edu? How is your home? Where is your home?
My home is in Cochabamba, located in the beautiful Bolivia, which is in South America. It's not in Africa. So yeah, keep saying your story, man.
Cochabamba, kukanyeni cuenco. Cochabamba, kukanyeni cuenco. Reminds me of this African tune.
It's a Siahamba
Siahamba, yes, yes, yes.
Kukanyeye Cuenco Cochabamba.
It's a
Love it,
great
man.
tune.
It's an
And
awesome tune.
after this great time back home during the summer, I was getting ready to move to New York City, which was one very crazy and scary decision that I made. And I wasn't sure until I arrived how it all is going to turn up. Luckily, as most of the things eventually turn up good if you are ready for it, if you at least prepared a bit. But to say it was hectic, it would be a big understatement. It was a crazy period of my time that has been extending up until now, during which I've been trying to double so many other things on top of that. But here I am in my dream school, learning so much every day, meeting so many incredible people, and I just feel super grateful for all of that just happened these last 6 months. Edu, how have you been? I know lots of major things have been happening with you as well, being it this job offer and continuing with this great calling of sharing what you're good at. So you can touch on this and tell me how was your summer in Bolivia. That I was very sorry that I couldn't be there with you, but I was extremely happy for you because I know you were able to bring some important person there as well with you, and you also enjoyed great family time. So why don't you tell us more?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, I love your honesty, and I missed your excitement. When you say something, it's like you get so passionate and your eyes just like start glowing. I don't know how to describe it. It's like hearing a kid talk about something that really excites him. And that's awesome. That's something I always admired of you. And just by listening to what you were saying, it came to me so many thousands of ideas that we could talk about. Like, I remember you moved to New York and last minute they told you that you don't have an apartment, or stories like that. And it's like, you just mentioned you went through a major life change and you were really scared, and like you could talk about how to prepare for something like that, how to embrace the change, how to embrace the uncertainty, what to do when you move to a new city, what to do to start meeting people, how to go back to school after you have not been in school for a while. Dude, it's so many topics that we could talk about. And the fact that you are still so passionate about all of this, it's very touching, and it gives me a lot of motivation to keep this going after this episode and just gain traction and start sharing and deconstructing everything you just said. But asking that on the thing that you asked, yeah, I went home, man. It was amazing. I haven't been in Bolivia in like 3 years or so, and I forgot about how much my culture means to me. I should say ethnicity more than culture, because I just realized and I learned that there's a lot of cultures. You know, as the artistic culture, there is the beer drinking culture. There is so many cultures. And there is a big misconception between the word culture and ethnicity. But I really missed my ethnicity. I really missed not having to schedule everything months in advance. I really missed, this is gonna sound horrible, but I really missed being late to things and having it being sociably acceptable.
Great.
Yeah, I'm not the best at arriving places on time. So, it's like I showed up places and it was not a big deal that I showed up late, and it was perfect. I really missed that. I missed feeling that, in a way, I missed feeling that everybody understands and you don't have to explain things of your ethnicity or the culture of your home country, because everybody is in there, You don't have to explain your crazy traditions. You just embrace it and just have fun. You don't have to explain, hey, every time we drink alcohol, we have to throw it the first sip to Mother Earth. Like, you just do it, man. It's cool. It's cool to get back in touch with your roots. And having said that, if you have not been home wherever it is, I'm pretty sure for Americans it's very similar, considering there's the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, Southeast, Southwest. It's very important to go back to where you belong and get in touch with your roots. Absolutely.
Get rerouted.
Yeah, get rerouted, dude, because that defines who you are, and it's so easy for people to get lost in the environment. I feel like I was already starting to behave and do everything like a South Dakotan, I forgot how to have the proximity with people, have that warmth when you meet somebody, give hugs. And I was just giving handshakes. And I actually felt uncomfortable when people got too close to me. And I was like, whoa, what's going on?
I was just about to ask you. You said, like, I was in my culture. I'd have to care about, like, being myself surrounded with my people. But maybe weren't they curious, like, why you're acting weird? Why did you change? What's happening with you right now? Because of so many different things that you experience and maybe even adapted from the culture that you are currently at.
It was interesting in the fact that I realized that I just need to stick to being myself in America. And people were really shocked about that. The people I interacted with, I started a lot of filters. I started to letting go of a lot of my filters. I started being more direct. I'm trying to get really better at having uncomfortable conversations with people. Because in the Midwest, a lot of people are very passive, aggressive, and they don't really say, I have a problem with you, let's fix it. So I'm trying to do that, and it's a shock for sure. But I think that just because going back home made me realize that just because I live in the Midwest, I should not behave differently. I should try to find a way to work around my own beliefs, but I should not change who I am based on where I am right now, if it makes sense. But yeah, that was the highlight of my summer. Going back home, I started a leadership course called Change South Dakota, where I'm learning about, yeah, it's phenomenal, where I'm learning about cultural biases, how to become a leader in your community. I took, again, 3 years. I signed a contract for 3 years of teaching with the Sioux Falls School District. And I finally know what I'm doing as a teacher. First year teaching is hard. It's oof. If we have teachers listening to this, my heart's with you guys. And I am working a lot in making more music, sticking to my own goals, my own projects, and working a lot on my health. I have never realized how important it is to work on preventive healthcare rather than, what is the word? Preventive versus...
Post-production fixing.
Yeah. Versus corrective. There you go. Versus corrective, fixed. I started going to a chiropractor that makes micro adjustments, and I started feeling the difference in my body just by making smaller changes rather than waiting until something really hurts before I go there. I'm having a lot of insights, and I think it's part of growing up. So I'm really excited as well to share a lot of the things I believe now with you. But from what I'm hearing, both of us have stuck with our major thing that defines us, which is our natural curiosity for always be constantly learning new things. So I want to hear from you, what is something you are learning right now? Like, it doesn't matter if it's at school or on your own time, but what is something you're learning right now?
Okay, so definitely, absolutely school, my major. There's like thousands of new topics being shared every week, every month, that are being piling up in such a big, steep speed because it's a master's program that is condensed in 1 year. So there's really, like, really, without any exaggeration, so many new things I'm learning every day just because of school, and also because of my belief I came here that I really want to learn. So it's a little bit masochistic or like kind of self-destroying because there is no way how you can absorb that much and this depth of information that we're being fed with every day. So I'm trying to do my best. And then on top of that, I'm also learning who I really am again, because here I'm surrounded by the group of people who everyone is really brilliant. There are people from all over the world who are extremely talented, being in whatever their niche is, whatever their focus is. Many of them are really very serious about what they want to do in future, and they're trying to do their best. They have a great life experience, and many times when you meet these skills all together, it makes you thinking, makes you question yourself. Okay, so is this what I'm doing really something that I want to keep doing for the future?
This scary
these
question,
people,
right?
yes, these scary questions. And on top of that, I'm learning how to survive in this crazy city that is really as crazy as people talk about it, without any exaggeration. New York is extremely fast. There is no time for nothing. There's always everything happening, and there's the big fear of missing out because you don't go somewhere and the next day you find out that like the best event of your dreams was happening just around your corner, but you didn't have a chance to attend because you had thousands of other things that you needed to do. So fighting with time management, with organization skills, with
Wow.
people skills, social skills. Again, rethinking my daily routines about how to stay healthy, as you said, trying to prevent things from happening. So this whole year, I'm sure, is just full of learning, and I'm very happy about it, and trying to remind really this myself very often that this is why I'm here and this is what I like, even though it's super challenging because you naturally get tired after trying to battle all of these things at once. What has been new discovery or maybe like new learning point for you? What has been the big theme for you?
Two things. The first one,
Okay.
In my leadership seminary, we learned that learning doesn't need to be immediate. And that bothered me and still bothers me. We were exposed to a lot of information in such a short amount of time, same as everything in America. They give you an agenda. Hey guys, in this week's workshop, we're going to cover XYZ. At the end of this workshop, you're going to be able to do XYZ. And we are going to give you a test. So you're being force-fed information to keep the pace moving. But in this seminary, in this course that I'm doing right now, they gave us the content of a whole year, and they taught us everything we will learn over a year. And they told us it's okay that you feel confused. It's okay that you feel overwhelmed, because you are going to learn this over a whole year. And if you don't learn it, it's okay. You just take whatever you can out of this, and that's a win because you already learned something new. And it really bothered me. I was like, tell me the answer, damn it. I want to know. But just having that different approach to learning, I think it really makes you reflect. If you listen to a really good podcast and you try to take notes, it would be impossible for you to keep up with all of the amazing things they say. You just have to find what really resonates with you and what you can take from that place and that specific talk. The lesson that applies to you. So I have learned that it's okay not to learn everything. And I have learned that whenever you're exposed to a lot of information, it's the point of that is not to get overwhelmed, but only take whatever works for you at the moment. and it doesn't have to be forced. And the second thing I have learned, which is funny, is I'm learning a lot about stocks right now. It's so unrelated, but I was always curious about how stocks work in America, and I am hitting the age, it's like I realized I'm 26. Okay, I do have a passive investment because I use the app Acorns, which it's a ripoff if you look at the numbers and how much they charge you for management fees. But I was like, you know what? I want to learn about how this whole stock system works because I have already lost too much money with crypto. So yeah, I find it fascinating how people just don't know about all of these things. Like I have so many teachers that I speak with on a daily basis where we are in the South Dakota Retirement Fund. They give us 6% of our paycheck goes to that fund, and the South Dakota government matches 6% to that. So you are getting 12% of the salary you make deposited into an account that doesn't grow with compound interest, that will probably be affected by inflation in the future unless they decide to make a major change in the law. And it's just like a savings account. It's like the money is not working for you. And a lot of teachers are just counting on that money and are counting in accessing that money when they are 65, retirement age, or like 59 and a half, retirement age. And they are so clueless when it comes to other retirement options because they just feel that they're doing the bare minimum. And I was like, wow, it's horrible that a lot of people think that they are already doing the necessary steps, but there's so much more. And it's horrible that schools don't teach us that. It's horrible that it's not a regular talk on like, hey, how are your stocks doing? It's very scary to think about how many people are going to be affected just by the lack of knowledge.
The knowledge is something that is overarching this thing you just said. I will first start with the stocks, with the things that you mentioned, because how people are not like educated within this area. It reminded me the book I read, I think 2 years ago. It's called I Will Teach You to Be Rich, and he was giving really specific advice how to talk with bank institution, with money institution in order to have better benefits for you. So that was a great book that I learned so much from it. For example, I spent every 3 months, ever since I read the book, I call my credit card bank accounts or my regular bank accounts, and I tell them, I've been enjoying your services. I like to be a loyal customer. I want you to increase my credit limit, as well as I want you to decrease my interest rates. And surprisingly, if you keep doing this on a regular basis, it works and it gives you many more opportunities. So that would be for the financial literacy. But I got like three things that came up to my mind. This was one. The second, you said like you're surprised how many people don't know. I think, when I was growing up in Czech and spending my time back home before I came here, I was always super surprised how someone cannot know something that I knew. That was very normal for me. And I met people who didn't know. I was like, this is like a common sense. How come you cannot know that? Mm-hmm. And I learned that I have to be more chill about it. And when I came here, I learned the opposite. That like there's thousands, millions of people that know completely opposite of what I know. And much better for me is to be quiet and just ask them, hey, tell me something about you, because I know I don't know so many of your life experiences and things and your way of looking at things that I want to learn. So that's the second one, like trying to expand. And because of we people as groups know different things from other people as groups, that's why the world, the economy, everything can run, because we exchange information, and access to information is really helping you to get somewhere better, to do different things, maybe things that are closer to what you really want, which is a super cool idea. So that's, I think, why we both believe in lifelong learning and being curious about so many different fields and things that are happening around us. And the third thing will be connected with the first thing you mentioned, when you said you were part of the seminar and they told you that it doesn't matter if you don't learn something quickly. And the first thing that came up to my mind was my orientation week here at Berkeley NYC, when I first first stepped on the school campus, and we had the orientation session with, president talking, and then our major professor sharing their ideas and what is going to happen over this crazy year. And two things that stick with me that are related to what you just said is, first, fail fast and often in order to really learn the crazy amount of things that we are learning here. And the second one was, don't hold things too dearly. Let's say like you are spending so much time on figuring something out, and you figure out and it doesn't work. And normal reaction would be like, oh my God, this is so bad. I feel bad about myself. I feel terrible. I want to stop doing it. So don't hold it dearly. Let it go, because there are still so many other things that you can improve. And eventually it's still a life learning experience that you can apply to so many other things that will be popping up as you go. But the first one, the fail fast and often, is something cool that I think is extremely powerful. Just in any situation, if you want to really learn something, because once you spend time in books getting some theory, then you really need to apply it for real life situations, and that's where you can fail crazy, and you can really just fall down, just like break your hands, like everything. Please don't try it at home, but I mean, like, you really learn these lessons by doing them and failing and failing and failing. And the more you repeat this process by failing fast and often, if you provide enough feedback, if you are provided with enough feedback from other people who are better at this, you will learn like crazy, which is an incredible power of
it's such a paradox. It's like you learn the most by failing, like you succeed the most by failing. And well, here it comes the real question is like, why do we forget about our humanity, and why do we forget it's okay to make mistakes? We're so exposed to, I think it's because of social media, maybe, or because of the environment we're in, where people are experts at everything they do. Like, without going far, Uncle Roger, just looking at his videos, you assume, hey, that guy has an awesome charisma, an awesome personality. Looking at Guga, it's like, hey, that guy is awesome at cooking. Looking at, I don't know, like, what is somebody, Victor Wooten, oh, that guy is amazing at music. Oh, looking at, and we are just exposed to perfection from everywhere, that it's easy to start comparing yourself to all of these people that are excelling one thing in their craft. And you want to be excellent at everything you do, no matter how big or small it is. And that really messes up with your whole learning process, because you get discouraged. You are like, okay, you start comparing. It's so ridiculous. It's like, how can you start comparing yourself with Victor Wooten, or how can you start comparing yourself with a person that has devoted their entire lifetime to their craft? But yet still we do it, and we have the audacity to compare ourselves with them. So I love the thing you say about failing, because we're never really going to be excellent at everything. And the best way we can have a well-rounded thing is by failing and realizing we are not going to be successful at that, but we can find what works for us.
Like, battling this like unique path that we all got in front of us, that's like a crazy challenge multiplied by 1,000 times, with all the access to the best information, fast information, social media, and everything, as you just mentioned. And that's, I think, is like a really crazy like mind game, because you can feel like very left out, that you're not enough. On the other hand, if you switch the thinking, it can inspire you greatly of what is able, what the humans of what we are capable of, which I think is incredible to see. But yeah, I'm not sure how it was for you, but I feel after coming to America to study here, in general, I become much more of a generalist rather than specialist, which sometimes I'm super happy about, but sometimes I also have to question it, because I have this burden, this passion that I'm playing this unique instrument, and I want to be better at it, and I want to share the best possible version of it. But I also know that I'm battling so many other things at the same time, and I just cannot spend 90 maybe even 80, maybe even 70, not even 60% of my time here just focusing on this solely. So I have to split in between so many things that eventually I believe are still super worthy, because they're putting me into so many incredible situations of meeting new people, of collaborating, of learning about myself, about the world, about the uniqueness of amazing uniqueness that is all around us. But yeah, how do you feel about this? Like generalist versus specialist, focused, unfocused, spread thin, spread narrowed, or what do you think about this?
When I came to America, I was definitely a generalist, because you get access to so much crap that you want to learn everything, I ended up spending money in things I didn't know because I thought I was going to become an expert at those things. So I started doing more generalized things. I bought lights as if in my life I was going to record professional video. I brought professional lights just because I thought I needed to learn photography. I learned video editing. I learned cooking. I learned this. I learned that. I learned how to record. I'm learning how to play soccer. I'm learning a lot of things. And it's overwhelming to know that you are putting way too much stress on yourself, trying to learn all of these things. And I narrowed it down because I think, yes, a person needs to be well-rounded in everything, but you can choose what you want to be well-rounded at. So currently, I'm speaking about my current experience. I have chosen to be a specialist with Bolivian music that is adapted to new genres. But I am a generalist because I still want to learn about other musical genres, but I want to have a focus. I want to have a spotlight. And I feel that if I really push towards that focus, towards that path, I am going to be able to bypass things that would force me to be a generalist. For example, right now I feel in my current position, I feel that in order to be successful, I need to learn how to do professional video editing. I need to learn how to do professional audio recording. I need to learn how to do marketing. I need to learn how to yada yada. And you can the list goes on. However, if I really specialize in becoming the best Bolivian musician that mixes pop elements with Bolivian music, my hope would be that at some point I could have enough money to hire a video editor, enough money to hire a marketer, enough money to hire an audio engineer that can mix things for me. So by specializing on your craft, you're willing to bypass all of these little traps that we're putting around ourselves, that we need to be a do-it-yourself, completely person in order to be successful. So that's just my thought and why I decided to specialize. Now, I'm not saying you should make your entire life around Bolivian music, I have decided to specialize in education. I am decided to specialize in becoming a leader for cultural change, and I have decided to specialize in Bolivian music. Those three can be divided into many general things, but as long as I have that focus, it can definitely lead somewhere. It reminds me of the analogy of this big boat. I don't know. It was a big boat, like a cruise ship, that was broken, and somebody the owners of the cruise contacted a mechanic, and it was the best mechanic in town, and that guy couldn't fix the cruise ship. They contacted another mechanic, and that guy was the best of the country, and he couldn't fix the cruise ship. And they started pulling people from different places, and they were charging outrageous amounts of money just to have the boat fixed. And then comes this person that was a specialist and told them, I can fix your problem. And they were like, okay, at this moment, we will take anything, because we have invested so much with people that have been trying to fix the ship and did this approach and use their expertise, and nothing worked. So then the person goes, messes up and updates something with the control panel of the ship, and everything starts working perfectly. It takes him 10 seconds. And when he gives the bill, he charges $50,000. And the owners of the cruise ship are like, What? You just like messed for 5 minutes. All of these other people were trying to like do this and that and that. And the bill said, yeah, $1,000 for the time I invested, but $49,000 for all the knowledge that I have that allowed me to fix the problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's the reason why people can make crazy money in the world, because the knowledge gap, knowledge spread. Great comparison. And immediately I got one that I learned 2 weeks ago. We have a class focused on like concert and stage lighting for any kind of production. So we can use the lighting console and we can set up different moods and lights scenarios for what is happening. And all of it is based around networking. Let's say you're taking Ethernet cables and connecting them together in order to have all the information communicating as quickly as possible with as least amount of cable as possible. And he said, you would be surprised, but many times you go to this gigantic festival for like hundreds of thousands of people, and they have having problems with something. And I come there and I see their cable for the Ethernet, that is the main one, was disconnected or was plugged to a different slot that was completely meant for different purposes. And you would be surprised how many people have no idea and spend hours and hours to figure it out, and they never look into this basic idea. I come there, I can do it, I can charge them whatever I want because I know this.
And that shows you the power of being a specialist versus a generalist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. But then the problem is they are also like specialists and they're sharing these ideas with us. But then we have to learn 5 different major things at the same time and try to be as good as possible with all of these in just a short time while battling so many things. So it takes lots of fail and trial and error and everything you can, and eventually you get closer. But yeah, that's a great thing to.
So let me ask you this question then, and this is getting a little bit personal. How much do you really want to work with lights and be a light engineer?
I think at this point very low. I don't think that it got my interest that much. It's super cool for me to discover how it all works. It's quite disappointing for me to discover that it's similar to like computer engineering in a way. It's like all about programming in many ways, not like everything, but for example, it's also very creative, but depends on which position in this like lighting niche you can have. If you're the lighting designer or if you're just the engineer who is connecting the cables together so everything works. I would say generally it doesn't get my attention as much as things related to music that have been closer to me, but discovering this world that I was completely unaware of, I didn't ever realize of how many things can go inside, is super cool. And again, it's confirming these biases that I have been holding for a long time of my life, that I just thought the world is much more simpler and it's cool to discover that it's not.
Oh yeah. But here's the trap. You just mentioned you have to learn 5 things currently. It was, of course, a number you just threw out there, but what are the 5 things you think you're trying to grasp on that are causing you so much like hassle?
So financial side of surviving in one of the most expensive cities in the world. Then it would be the audio side from my major, because we're focusing on audio. Then it would be the lighting side of my major. Then it would be the video side of my major, because we're connected visuals, lighting, and audio at the same time, and the whole production aspect of that, on top of still being able to be myself in order to make friends that I want to be with. You're surrounded in my case with 200 people from all over the places with crazy backgrounds, with crazy stories that are also willing to work super fast, and then you're trying to find yourself within this crazy hustle. So these would be the 5 things that I'm trying to really excel at the same time, which has been a trick, but it's been also a great thing, so I cannot complain.
Awesome. And now, if you had to get rid of one of these things, if you have to make your life easier and say, you know what, I'm just going to do the bare minimum in one of these things, the 80-20 rule, I'm going to put 20% of my effort expecting an 80% of return. Which of those 5 things would be?
Like if I really could, that means that I would not have to pass my classes, because I have to pass all my classes in order to be able to graduate. Our passing grade is B-. If you have any lower grade than B-, you cannot graduate from this school, which is crazy to realize. So realistically I cannot leave them out. I can switch less focus on them. That means I can fulfill the homework, I can do what is expected from me, get a passing grade and be enough. So that would be pretty much the lighting most of the times. I have to say I'm extremely fortunate that right now the financial side of my time here is not also as pressured, because I spent so much time before to work in this and invest so I can be able to focus on what I want. So these two things, lighting and financial side of current time, I could leave a little bit behind and I can progress in the others, that being finding myself and learning as much about audio so I can connect it with my Symbolon projects and with more music opportunities for the future. I think that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking, because in this hustle culture, in this hustle environment, you don't get this time that much that you would reflect on your own. You reflect on so many other things that you are forced to reflect on, but stop and ask these questions for yourself. It's becoming quite a luxury. So
that's what I call the trap, man. That's what I call the trap for sure, because we're doing so many things that we just believe that we need to be excellent at all of those because of our environment, and everybody expects us, and our own expectations forces us to do everything perfect. If I could go back in college, I could tell you I would not have cared about getting a 4.0 GPA. That was so taxing in me, and I felt that I needed to be excellent at everything I did, where I could have just focused my time learning audio production and making songs. At this time, my life would be completely different. You know, maybe I could have already launched my first DVD, CD, not even that, my first album. Yeah, I'm old. My first album. I could have made my first tour. I would have all of the resources. So what is making you believe that you need to excel at everything you're doing? And why don't you decide to get a B? Why don't you aim for a little bit less? Why don't you get a B in lighting? Why don't you get a B in video editing and start working towards an A++ on the thing you're really passionate about?
Yeah, great question, and I wish it would be as easy as it sounds. And believe me, I have been like handling all the different aspects and trying to experiment with that. And I think I'm doing like be wise in my lighting class right now. I'm still getting good grades from the homework, but you know, the homework level and everything that we have to do here is set so high that no matter what, you have to spend so much time just to finish it. And that time, even if you don't care, you have to learn so many different things. So if I would say like, okay, I will not want to do that, I would not be able to pass even the third week, because every week is building upon the previous week. We have like 2 acceptable absences for most of the classes. Some of the classes we have 0 absence tolerance. So this really doesn't give you this option. We decided to come here. They give us options. Okay, now is time where you can drop out from your classes. You can get refund. Then 1 month later, now is the time where you can drop out and you can get partial refund. 3 months later, now you cannot drop out because you will not get any refund. So you can try, but it's pointless because why, you're already here, right? So they give you these options, but these options are, okay, I will give up on the biggest dream that I've been hoping to have. And even though in reality the dream is much different, because this crazy tool we have here is great, and coming up with all the different romances and ideas influenced by our culture we have everywhere. So eventually it'll be super different. But I decided to do this, to finish this in order to grow and to learn these amazing things with these crazy people and absolutely inspiring people. And that's why I'm doing this, and trying to really remind how fortunate and grateful for all of this I am. I think the gratitude could be the overarching theme for it, because that's really what keeps me going every single day. Like, oh, I wake up and like, I'm super, super grateful that I can wake up here and I can go to this school and I can do these things. Let it be whatever.
That's awesome, man. Wow. And without really thinking about it, even though you believe you are a little bit more of a generalist, I think you're in the very specialist mindset, because right now you're specializing on your studies. You know, even though you being a generalist would be more like you try to become better at a chef. You're trying to become an investor. You're trying to become an athlete. But you realize that those are not priorities right now. So you're specializing in one thing. So the way you put it, it's very beautiful, man. You have your goal, you have your dream, and you're specializing towards your dream. So it's perfect. And it's gonna
Wow.
pay off. Everything you're doing right now, it's gonna pay off at some point.
Thank you for saying this. I want to write it down when we finish recording this, because that is powerful to hear.
Yeah. Perspective is crazy, right? Like how we look at things makes all the difference. Glass half full, glass half empty.
I feel like today you've been giving so many cool, like, specific examples, like, which is so cool because people tend to relate to things that are much more specific than abstract. So what would be for you something that made you realize these things, that focusing on one certain thing or maybe specializing can be better or different or better for you in this current stage? Let's say it this way.
I think it's because of my leadership class that I have been really looking deep down in myself, realizing what are my strengths, realizing what are my weaknesses. And the fact that I'm a teacher really has a toll in my physical and mental health. I was to a point where I got burnt out, and I'm still coming out of that. So I was forced to tell myself, okay, how do I get out of being burnt out? Because it's so easy to get into that. So I tried doodling with a schedule. I came up with a realistic schedule that would keep me happy. Because I wanted to be a generalist. So I wanted to make music. I wanted to work out 1 hour and a half every single day. I wanted to cook professionally for myself. I wanted to watch a lot of professional growth and investing videos. I wanted to prove so many things that I started realizing I need to make a schedule that reflects what I truly want. And that's, I think, how I got here. My first schedule was like on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I was going to work on music fully, and I was going to watch courses, and I was going to do this, and I was going to learn piano for 1 hour. And it just crazy, insanely high expectations. And on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, I was going to work out and do all my physical thing, and I was going to completely change my physical health. But I made it the bare minimum. Instead of working for 4 hours in music, I just said, as long as I work 20 minutes, I open Ableton, and whatever happens, happens. In 20 minutes, that's more realistic. And that helped me shift my mindset to really find my focus and what I want to invest my time in, because time is the most valuable resource we have. So yeah.
Wow.
Trial and error, realizing your schedule has to shift, and you need to be really realistic. But you need a schedule for consistency. You cannot make all of these life changes unless you have it in paper and you're like, from this time to this time, even though it's so tiny. Right now I have my goal of going to the gym for 20 minutes and do heavy cardio. Sometimes I'm like, I feel so discouraged, but I finally got to the point where I know it's only 20 minutes. Sometimes I have been able to make 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but I was realistic, and I moved it from 1 hour and a half at the gym every day. That was very taxing on my health and mental health and made me feel like a failure, to 20 minutes on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Cool. And eventually, I believe when you go there and you spend the 20 minutes, you realize, okay, I'm already here. I can maybe push it to 30, 40, 1 hour, whatever.
And sometimes I'm like, I'm already here. I'm not feeling the whole 20 minutes. You know, I'm running. I'm like, I feel tired. I showed up, and that's what matters. And I feel like I can be flexible with myself as well, because it's not my goal to be a body builder. My goal is to be a musician. And as long as I'm trying, and as long as I commit to keep trying, things are gonna be better.
Great. Wow. I think this is a great point where we can share some maybe final thoughts for people who are listening. Let's say it's fall, you know, the weather got cold. I'm sure it's super cold in your place right now at this point. Maybe what would be something that we can share with people who are listening that can give them more of a good mood, more of inspiration and push for the upcoming days, weeks, months, any dreams, any ideas that they are trying to hold in their minds and trying to let them shine?
I think it's important to take time for yourself. The best thing I would suggest for that is block everything that is stressing you. Make an intention to block for 10 minutes. I'm not going to worry about email. I'm not going to worry about everything that's in my mind, all of those reoccurring thoughts. And for 10 minutes, just allow yourself to be happy with any other worry than being fully present. And if you do that, you're going to be inspired and you're going to start changing your life for the better. And you're going to find that happiness that you need. Say, I worry about my life and everything that's going on around all day long. But if I intentionally block 10 minutes, what difference is going to make not worrying for those extra 10 minutes, So yeah, just set some time aside for yourself and do something you absolutely love doing.
Great. Wow, that's nice, and I absolutely agree with that. I need to improve it and keep reminding myself. That's a great thought. I think I would add on top of that the thing that can go in hands with it. Sometimes it might be contradictory, but I think it's absolutely go in hands with that, and it would be seek discomfort, because we are so good at keep telling ourselves what is enough, what is just good, that sometimes we forget that it's been actually our comfort zone. And really, every time we push this comfort zone and we try to get out of that, many times we can discover cool things and learn much more about ourselves. The discomfort can be even with this, what you just said, just find time for yourself. Our comfort can be that we never find time for ourselves. So see the discomfort and do something different just to get off the track of what has been going on in the life. And usually it has a great impact of providing this great feedback loop and the time to reflect on things that have been happening differently. So absolutely,
Yeah, man.
Take time for yourself, do something that you love, and seek discomfort.
Absolutely. It was amazing talking with you, bro. I can't wait to have another deep talk.
Amazing to talk with you too, and thank you for this time. Thank you to all our listeners that have joined again after this major break that we have got, and thank you for supporting us. Thank you for keep listening, and we'll be back soon.